Retrieving, an exercise where you can either lose or gain a lot of points. The ideal scenario is when the dog, as you can see here, quickly retrieves the dumbbell, sits directly in front of you, holds the block still without chewing, and only releases it when you command. Many people claim that you can only teach a dog to retrieve through forceful methods. In this video, I aim to prove that you can teach a dog to retrieve in a cheerful and unforced manner. To positively introduce retrieving, I use a clicker and a small retrieval dumbbell. I present the small retrieval dumbbell, and the moment the dog's nose touches the center of the dumbbell or when it picks up the dumbbell, I click and give it a reward. It's crucial to click immediately when the dog touches the center of the dumbbell with its nose. The dumbbell is a means to an end. It is not a toy. In this initial phase, you don't give any commands. The dog doesn't need to do anything else. It doesn't have to sit nicely in front of you. It doesn't have to be calm. The only thing it needs to do is pick up the dumbbell or touch it with its nose. After the click, it can immediately release the dumbbell to receive its reward. I always start this exercise on a stone platform. A stone platform has two ends, forcing the dog to naturally sit directly in front of me, as you can see here. Once the dog understands the exercise and loves the retrieval dumbbell, you can perform the exercise standing instead of sitting. Only progress to the next step when the dog fully understands the exercise and eagerly wants to pick up the dumbbell. In the next step, you no longer click immediately when it picks up the dumbbell. Instead, you delay the click. Take tiny steps. If you delay the click too much, there's a high chance the dog will start chewing on the dumbbell, which we want to prevent. The best approach is to alternate. Sometimes click immediately, and other times delay the click. This keeps it interesting for the dog. It should never know when the click is coming. When the dog can hold the dumbbell still in its mouth for a few seconds, you can perform this exercise when it sits nicely in front of you. Perfect here is what I call the ideal position. I'll create a separate video for that. Under no circumstances should you practice perfect here in combination with the retrieving exercise. Now you will only click when he holds the dumbbell still and firmly in his mouth. When he has the dumbbell securely in his mouth, as you can see here, he won't chew on it. It's time to start the actual retrieving, where the dog has to bring the dumbbell to you. I still use the small, unofficial retrieving dumbbell for this. The small retrieving dumbbell has the advantage of being lightweight, which is especially useful when the dog drops it. If, during the training of this exercise, the dog drops the large IGP-1 dumbbell on its toes, it could lead to a negative experience. In this phase, the dog is likely to drop the dumbbell frequently. I've never had a dog bring the dumbbell to me without dropping it, at least once. This exercise requires a lot of patience. Try, and most importantly, don't get angry or lose patience. The dog will eventually understand. Once he comprehends that he should come to you with the dumbbell and sit neatly, it's essential that he looks at you and not, as you can see here, at my left hand where he usually receives treats. I don't reward him at that moment. When you're sure the dog brings the dumbbell to you neatly without dropping it, it's time to introduce the IGP-1 dumbbell. In my experience, dogs understand what's expected right away, although some young dogs may initially struggle with the weight. When transitioning from the small retrieving dumbbell to the IGP-1 dumbbell, I always take a step back in training. He needs to sit nicely in front of me again, hold the dumbbell still in his mouth, allowing him to get used to the weight of the new dumbbell. Usually, the dog gets accustomed to the new dumbbell in 1 or 2 training sessions, and you can start the actual retrieving with the IGP-1 dumbbell. The IGP-1 dumbbell is also much easier to pick up from the ground than the small retrieving dumbbell. You can start placing the dumbbell on the ground relatively quickly to familiarize him with picking it up from there. Here's a good example of why I introduce this exercise with a stone platform. The dog sits nicely in front of me without leash assistance or other coercion. Ensure the dog doesn't chew on the dumbbell, as shown here. Don't reward him if he does. Stay calm and start over. Here, he's doing exceptionally well. He holds the dumbbell firmly in his mouth and he receives his reward. Step by step, you can begin to throw the dumbbell further away, but keep it playful and enjoyable. Turn it into a bit of a game. The goal is for the dog to retrieve the dumbbell as quickly as possible and bring it back to you. Applying too much pressure during this phase will adversely affect the speed. That's why I consciously click often, even before the dog sits neatly in front of me. Many people don't understand this and ask, "He didn't finish the exercise. Why did you click?" I do this because I want to maintain the speed. For the dog, this is entirely clear. The agreement I have with the dog is that after the click, he can do whatever he wants. So at that moment, he can drop the dumbbell. You'll see that if you don't click, he will still sit nicely in front of you with the dumbbell in his mouth, waiting for the click, because only then is the exercise finished. This concludes part 1 of teaching ground retrieval. In the next video, I will explain how to make the dog retrieve over the hurdle and climbing wall. I will also explain how to make the dog sit when you throw the retrieving dumbbell. Many dogs struggle with this initially. I have a trick for this. Actually, a subtle influence that a judge cannot see. If you find my videos informative and would like to see more, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. As soon as I upload a new video, you'll receive a notification that a new video is online.